Hey TJ, this is Adrian Gomez. Thanks for tuning into this and turning this in. And anyway, I'm excited to work with you. So you do a great job of loading into the back leg. We're going to stay into the back leg. I think your back leg load is pretty good. I think out of here though, let's see here. Let's get into this. As he goes forward, good extension with that back leg. Back leg stays on. The knee kind of comes in. As you can see, that knee wants to collapse and not really the force should be in the hip. The hip should drive forward. But now that knee comes in like this, not allowing that back hip to rotate. Part of the problem is the angle at that front knee is too low, so it doesn't allow the hip to rotate and transfer all that energy up into the torso. But I think there's something that you can work on, power to the back leg, box drill 1, box drill 2, walking torque, walking wind up, all of those things are really going to help your back leg drive through a little bit better, more efficiently, and rotate more with your hips. So I think you do have an issue with your back leg. So power to the back leg, that's something I want you to work on. But I think you squat really well. You do that really well. So you're 109 degrees at plant leg, double angle foot strike. At foot strike, you're at 109. I'd like you to be at 110, which is, you're right there. So flexibility is there. When you land with that front knee, your angle is quite low, and we don't want it this low. 119 degrees. I want it to be about 135. So you're losing all of that energy. Let me back up a little bit. You're losing all that energy into that leg. It's going into the ground, and then none of it's going into the hand. It's right there. So a lot of energy is gone already, and then now with the back leg collapsing, there's no transfer into the torso and into the ball. So you're losing a lot of that transfer in both your back and your front leg. The front leg needs to set up, and I'll show you the angle. Right around there. So this knee needs to come back in this direction as the hip rotates through, and then the chest drives here, and then the throws out there. So front leg, I want you to work on that. As you plant, let's watch your knee. Your knee doesn't move a ton, so I don't know if you have an internally rotated front knee from this angle, but it looks pretty firm. But I want you to fix the angle out of your front knee. So that's a huge issue that will give you 3 or 4 miles an hour on your fastball. Okay, so back leg, power of the back leg, that's going to be an issue, and then also your front knee. Okay, so we're going to get into posture at ball release. So your posture, you can see your spine's going that way, and what here your chest is going forward, and then there your chest is going that way. So over here you're forward, and over there you're going the opposite way. So I'd like to keep that at a minimum of a chest change. I'd like you to stay up a little bit higher with your spine here, so that now you're sinking down and your chest is going forward in front of your belly button. And then now all of a sudden, now you got to come back into that arm slot just to throw a ball. So that posture change is a lot. And what's happening is, when you do that, you're minimizing the rotation that you can make, the speed of your rotation, by changing your axis. So with your spine, the bigger your spine change, the slower your rotation is. Especially with that back leg collapsing and that front leg being there. So that's something I want you to really work on. So your release point right here is right over that front foot, which is pretty good. It could be better just because that front knee will come back, that back leg will solidify, and then that torso will be able to come out, so your release point will be further and further out here. As you do that, your arm will feel better, and then number two, you're going to throw harder and have more control over your off speed as well. So it's a win-win all around. If we can get that back leg solidified, the front knee solidified, then everything else is going to be out here. You're going to be throwing pretty well. Okay, so your release point you need some work. We need to be a little bit later. Okay, we're going to get into stacking. I think you do a great job of stacking. The only thing that I would say, which we've talked about before, is keeping that chest back a little bit, because over here you're gonna go back anyway. You're gonna go back that way, but right now, as you go forward with your chest, and then all of a sudden now you're gonna arch back and have to go that way. So stacking, I think you have an issue just with your posture, your upper body posture. Okay, but your lower body's pretty good. And you're stacking, your head is actually staying behind the rubber, which is what we want. So stacking's good. Let's look at your front glove. Front glove issue looks pretty good. So you're pinching pretty well. I might have you pinch just a little bit higher with that front glove, but it solidifies pretty well. I think you do a good job with your front glove. I don't think that's a huge issue. At release point, we're going to go into the I think that's a little bit off. About 29 degrees with your chest extension. Okay, this is quite low. I want you to be at about 48 degrees. And what that means is the front knee needs to come back and solidify. Back leg needs to be solidified. You see how, if I can go back to this, that's where your leg should be. You see how it's on your toe, but now your knee is this way. So we want to make sure that that back leg solidifies, and then that provides the hip rotation necessary to throw. Front knee needs to come back, and your chest needs to go to that 48 degree mark. That's going to help speed up your rotation, not only rotationally this way, but also going forward. So your torso is gonna go forward, because your torso's stuck because of this front leg. So chest extension is an issue. Let's see. I think you do have a little bit of a high elbow. If I measured both of your shoulders off to your elbow right here, you're good. As I measure that here, your elbow comes quite a bit above that shoulder. So as you move forward, you have an elevated distal humerus, or your shoulder or your elbow goes up above your shoulder. I think a lot of it has to do with your lower half. So your front knee, you're fighting against your front knee, and your back leg collapses. So where do you have to go to throw the ball? Well, you have to go up anyway. So you're kind of you're creating the high elbow because of your lower body. So those are going to affect, we fix your lower body, and all of a sudden your upper body is going to be fixed as well. I think that's about it. I don't see much of anything else that we want to work on, but the big thing I want you to know is that your back leg, you should be driving as long as you can, and see how your back leg comes off the ground. You try to keep that back leg on that ground and rotating, so your hips can go around and drive through. I want your hips to work first, and then your leg to work second. So I think that's going to be huge for you, and I appreciate you sending this in, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work with you.